Hello, everyone, and today I'm going to be talking about your guide to Music IB, particularly the first step, which is choosing songs to analyze. If you don't know already, there are different components, but the first step is always to choose a song that you're passionate about, that you want to really analyze. So, I'm going to give you some basic advice now. So the first one is don't choose a long song, okay? I swear to God, this is very important. Ideally, you should choose a song between 1 to 5 minutes. It'll literally take you weeks to finish one analysis. So maybe one song you choose that, like, it can be longer. For example, I chose Epilogue from the La La Land original soundtrack, which is 7 minutes long. But whatever you do, make sure you don't make all of your songs long. So for example, over here, I've put Lateralis by Tool and that Led Zeppelin album. I forgot the name, but I know Kashmir is on it, and so is 10 Years Gone. Please don't do that. Another example is Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst by Kendrick Lamar. Great song, but very long, 12 minutes. Another piece of basic advice is don't make your songs too niche, and you need to make sure that you have material to go off from. So sure, you may want to seem cool, like, oh, I listen to some really underground niche stuff, but at the end of the day, you will want to choose a song that already has scores and analyses. So for example, if you're stuck between some random song from 1967 and Olivia Rodrigo, choose the Olivia Rodrigo one, because I'm sure you can find like scores online and people analyzing it if you just go onto YouTube. This is a really beneficial step. Make sure that you go onto YouTube and you search up whatever song analysis. There's some really good channels out there. For example, like Rick Beato, I think that's his name. He does really good analyses. So just make sure you do that. Next piece of basic advice, choose a relatively easy song to analyze. Don't choose something insane, okay? This is the biggest mistake I made. I analyzed Karma Police by Radiohead because I love that song. But there are disputes regarding the key of that song. Like some places said A minor, some places said E flat, I think, major, I'm not sure. But essentially, it was really hard to analyze the harmonic aspect of the song. So make sure everywhere says the same thing about the chords, key, and time signature. This is another thing. Make sure all of your music is in the same key. So many people do this. This is a massive mistake. If you are using several websites or sheet music for a song, there's a very high chance that at least one is written in a different key. So if you're doing Sweet Caroline, one might be in B flat major, or one might be in like E flat minor, or whatever. Just try to stick to one key, but if you're not, elaborate this when you're in your reasoning. So for example, I wrote, the original song is written in C major, but I'll analyze scores in the key of G minor. Be precise. If your teacher hasn't already gone over this with you, essentially there are 4 areas of interest. So the first is music for social, cultural, and political expression. AOI 2, which is music for listening and performance. AOI 3, which is music for dramatic impact, movement, or entertainment. And music technology in the electronic or digital age. The biggest thing you have to take note of is that you have a balanced amount of songs for each section when you're analyzing in the exploring part. So I'll go over which parts next time, like the exploring and experimenting and performing aspects. But essentially, AOI 1, AOI 2, AOI 3, AOI 4 were areas of interest. I'll go over these ones now. So the first one is music for socio-cultural and political expression, essentially protest music, which asks for a change. So for example, like War by Edwin Starr, which is a fantastic song, by the way. National anthems, my favorite is Paraguay, if you're interested. Church music. I put Kendrick Lamar there because he also made an album called To Pimp a Butterfly, which has a lot of protest music. So for example, like Wesley's Theory, All Right. A quick piece of advice, I would personally veer away from hip-hop when you're doing that, because hip-hop is honestly, it's difficult to analyze the songs without analyzing the lyrics, and honestly, you're not supposed to analyze lyrics in music. That's like more of an English thing. So I would say veer away from it, but you can still talk about samples and their cultural significance. Church music as well, for example, like choral music. That one honestly is more difficult to find, but it's still great. But if you don't want to do something like that, AOI2, which is literally music for performance, you can literally do anything. It's like classical music, rock music, punk, reggae, blues, hip-hop, experimental jazz. Honestly, when you're doing this, most of the time people will say this is only classical music, but because it's music for performance, it's honestly so broad. You can choose anything. You can do like hip-hop. Like, for example, one of the examples that I think the IB released was of someone doing a Drake song. I forgot which one. God's Plan, yeah. But honestly, again, literally anything. You can choose absolutely anything you want. AOI3 is essentially, AOI3, again, to elaborate, music for dramatic impact, movement, or entertainment. So essentially music from musicals, films, or TV shows. Can be themes or songs specifically made for the media, or like leitmotifs. The second point I'm going to really enunciate, because it cannot be like a random song that you can just find. It has to be a song preferably specifically made, like the original soundtrack. And you have to elaborate why that kind of fits in with a film. You have to provide a lot of background information, especially with exploring, but I'll do that next time as well. Motifs. Talk about if there's a character on screen, like what music is playing when they're there, and how does that reflect the character. AOI4. That is my favorite one. Music technology in the electronic and digital age. So DJ jams, essentially like electronic synth music like Daft Punk, Mojo, Kavinsky. I did the one from Drive for this one, the one that goes like, what's it? Are they some? Night Call, that's it. Dance music. This one you can also talk about samples. You can kind of like delve deeper into it. This is really good. Like, this one is honestly the easiest one. Again, enunciating one of my basic points. Make sure that this is not just like a random thing that you found online that is like Kendrick Lamar type beat or whatever. This has to be a proper song that you do. But essentially, the last part is justifying your decision, like why you chose a song. So you need to state why you chose these songs. Why did you choose this? Why did you choose any of these, So it needs to have another context inside of that area of inquiry. So it can be global, local, or personal. So I'm going to use these as an example. Global, anywhere outside your own country or region, possibly not in your own language. Like you definitely have to say that, by the way. If it's not in your own language, what language is it in? If it's not in English. You have to fit this in to the AOIs. Local, music from where you're from or where you live. Personal, songs that have personal meaning to you or significance. So, for example, for AOI4, when I said I chose Night Call by Kavinsky, that was a global context because Kavinsky is a French DJ. And local, so for example, AOI2, personally, if you're from Greece, you can find some Greek music to analyze, or if you're from the UK, get some Smiths, some Oasis, some Radiohead. Or personal. For example, you can definitely use this for AOI3. Why did you choose this movie specifically to analyze? Why Whiplash, Did that movie have did it like have an impact on you in some way? How did it reflect on you, So definitely you have to say that. Just make sure you definitely talk about them why. For example, if you say, yeah, I did this because my dad liked it, you have to delve deeper, like, because he grew up with it, did he just like it? You really have to justify. Global, I chose Bloody Sunday by U2, and that was because of the Troubles in Ireland, and that was, I thought, like a very politically important song, and that's what I said. This is my example paragraph of what I just said. For example, for Sunday Bloody Sunday, I wrote. It has a huge cultural prominence in Ireland and helps spread the message of peace throughout the country during the Irish Troubles. In my opinion, the drum rhythm is so easily identifiable that it carries great significance and has almost been an identifier for the struggles Ireland underwent. But other than that, just again, look through here. Justifying your decision is the most important part because you can lose marks on this. You definitely need to specify AOI and specify the context. But besides that, that's all, and I really hope you have fun on your IB music journey. This is a huge step. A quick piece of advice: if you didn't do GCSE music, it is highly recommended that you probably should watch some videos online on how to properly analyze. If you did GCSE music, one big piece of advice I can give you is this is essentially that last 12 marker that you're going to get. It's just a long, in-depth analysis, but that's only one segment. IB music is made out of so many little parts and pieces, and over this journey, I'll share that with you.